Hello, this is Ken Bodicher, also known as BadKen on the BattleForge forums and Carch in the game. Today's replay with the Play4Free deck is Defending Hope, and it's kind of timely because there's a community challenge going on right now around Defending Hope. I'm sure there's going to be some great slick videos to come out of that and great replays to come out of that. There's already been someone who's completed all of the achievements in that community challenge. But for this replay, I just have a regular Play4Free deck, my Freebie deck, which you can see a link to in the video info for this video, and no upgrades on it. And I've decided to go ahead and try Defending Hope with it, continuing my series of Play4Free deck expert replays. As to start with, I've rotated the camera here so that the east side of the map is at the top, because it's easier to see the action on both sides of the walls this way. And start off pretty much the same as my other replay of my Pure Nature replay of Defending Hope, summoning in Windweavers and backing them up with Primal Defenders and getting the walls up right away. Something I learned during doing this replay is that you can build the walls right at the start of the replay. You don't have to wait to get your units near them, because apparently the towers that are next to the walls count as having units near the walls for building them. So build up those walls right away. The thing that's constraining me in the beginning of this replay, as usual, is power. I went for the towers rather than the extra Windweavers at the start, figuring that the towers would provide a little bit more punch and would also let my Windweavers heal more quickly, since there is no healing in the apart from the spell. There's no healing in the Play4Free deck. There's no shamans, so using the spell is kind of expensive. It costs as much to cast the spell as it does to summon a new group of Windweavers. So unless you're healing a large group all at once, it's kind of a waste of time to use the spell. One exception is, you'll see it here in a moment, is when a unit, yeah, there it is, is when a unit gets reduced to a less than 6 for a small-sized unit. It won't heal up to full strength again just from being next to a tower. You actually have to use a healing spell, and you want to do that because units that have less than their full number of members don't do as much power. So if you only had like 3 units left in the Windweaver unit, it wouldn't do as much, have as much attack strength as a Windweaver with 6 Windweavers in it. The early part of this map is pretty straightforward. Just keep the walls up, keep them repaired, keep your towers repaired, and keep building Windweavers as needed in the places they're getting attacked the hardest. I had a little problem in this map in the northeast, because I had only built 1 Windweaver there, and a strong attack came in, and I lost that 1 Windweaver. And then you see I just lost my tower too, and I'm about to lose the defense tower that you start the map with. So, and then a second group of archers came in. So that northeast side is going to be a problem for me here early in the game. The rest of the walls I have pretty well covered with 2 units of Windweavers on the walls and a tower behind the wall. One thing that I prioritized in doing this replay is getting orbs up quickly. That's another reason I was kind of low on power for building units, and I didn't have as many Windweavers as I might have there. I built the fire orb, the second fire orb, as soon as I could, and I built the third orb, the shadow orb, as soon as I could after that, and now I can summon swamp drakes, which is good because they're a very powerful attack unit and they have a good crowd control ability, which can come in handy on this map, although I completely spaced out and forgot to use the swamp drake's sleep ability. So you won't see any good use of that here, but it's something to keep in mind if you're doing a Play4Free and you're doing Defending Hope. That sleep spell can sleep a group of units in an area and can make things a lot easier on you when you're trying to fight off a large group of attackers. Now there we have, you saw some archers and crawlers killing off my Windweavers in the northeast, or the southeast rather. And the southeast is going to start becoming a problem for me here too, because this is where these Twilight Vilebloods start coming in, and they have they're large, very powerful attack, and their Vileblood kills anything that they get in contact with. So if they die inside the walls, it's just bad news, because it limits where you can move your units. It limits your ability to defend that whole side of the map, basically. So I'm having trouble on the east side. I lost my towers again in the northeast, and look, I have a whole group of units here coming in and beating on my orb. Fortunately, they didn't get the orb. I had one surviving Primal Defender on the south side, and the Swamp Drake on the north side was enough to keep them off. Swamp Drakes are very good for these early attack groups, because they have quite enough attack power to take care of them. The stronger attack groups, though, like these guys and the Twilight Vilebloods, require more than just the Swamp Drakes to fight them off. Now I have the Sages. Isle Sages are helping me out here. They don't really help all that much, though. They tend to not go out and attack things that are far away from the wall, like those Twilight Hags that always give me so much trouble on this map. This group of 3 Twilight Hags has killed my Magma Hurler, about to kill my Windweavers, and probably going to take out that orb, because I don't have enough units there fighting them off. Yep, there goes the orb. Those Twilight Hags have a really long range on them. I rebuilt the orb right away. It's only 100 power, but it's kind of a drag to have to spend that 100 power when I could have had enough defenses there to get rid of them. And here this Magma Hurler up on the hill is having trouble from 3 super long range Twilight Hags in the south. They killed him. I tried to move him back and forth a little bit to draw the Hags in, but they weren't having any of it. They weren't coming in. So eventually I had to send out some drones, which are great for attacking Hags. So they get strong attack, and they will mess up their ranged attack, slow them down a little bit, I think. In any case, the drones are good to send after the Twilight Hags, because they have plenty of health, and then they'll get knocked back by them. More and more groups of archers coming in. I think I've just about lost all of my original defense towers that I started the map with, which is unfortunate. If you can keep those things healed up, they're very helpful for you. And then you get these groups of Twilight Bugs, which are like nature's burrowers. They just take down your walls in an instant, and they're pretty tough. So I used a lava field spell there to take care of one group of them, just to get rid of them quickly. They would have taken out my southwest wall if I hadn't done that. I did take out my southeast wall, and my defenses are still really weak in the east side. I keep having to rebuild Primal Defenders. I rebuild the walls. I'm losing my defenders all the time. I just lost a Swamp Drake because he was too close to the Twilight Vileblood after he died. Kind of weird that the Vileblood goes all the way and kills flying units too, but there you have it. Keep your units away from those Vilebloods after they die, even if they're flying. So now I'm starting to build, it's taken me a while here, but I'm starting to build Firestalkers, and I'm really not sure why I didn't build Firestalkers earlier. I think probably the reason was that I was pushing to get 3 orbs as quickly as possible, so I didn't want to kind of waste time on Firestalkers when I had enough defense with Windweavers and Primal Defenders to keep off those early attack groups. As it is now, though, the attack groups are getting stronger and stronger, so I need more long-range firepower, and the Firestalkers are great for that. They're also great for dueling it out with the Hags, because their range is very similar. Another good reason to have Firestalkers at this point is that my defenses can become self-sufficient and allow me to build an offensive force to head north and bring Rogue and Kale back down. The whole point of this middle part of the map is to build up your defenses enough so that they can hold the fort, sort of prevent these guys from getting in and attacking the Soulstones. while you can go out and rescue Rogue and Kale, get him to come back and be useless because he really doesn't do much of anything defending you. But you also can go out and destroy some of the buildings that are out there and kind of slow the attacks a little bit, help you to last out until the final attacks come in. So I have plenty of defenders now, and I'm actually starting to build up this offensive force inside the walls. I have some shadow insects there and some drones I'm going to bring along with me. I've got enough magma hurlers and swamp drakes and firestalkers that they can cover both the north and the south side, kind of going back and forth. So you don't really need dedicated defenders on north or south, but you do need one group on the east and one group on the west. Generally, the attacks don't come at the same time in the north and the south, so you can use the same group to defend the north and the south. But the attacks keep on coming. Magma Hurler up on the hill there is just a great way to defend. It helps his range, helps his line of sight actually, and just gives you a really easy way to target things from a distance before they start hitting the walls. So now my offensive group is outside, and I've built up the 3 power wells outside there, and they're going to just sit there for a while. There will be a few attack groups that come in from that direction, from the northeast. So this small group will just defend the power wells until I'm confident that the group is strong enough to take on the Twilight Abomination that is waiting for them in the north. Meanwhile, my defenses are holding pretty good now. I'm still struggling a little bit in the east, getting stronger attacks in the east than in the west, I think, in this play. Yeah, so here's just a group of slavers, and they go down pretty quickly, but these the claw guys, not so easy. Can't remember their Twilight name. At least my towers are still standing. Now a small group of brutes, and the attack group takes care of them really quickly. So I'm pretty confident that at this point that attack group is strong enough to take on the Twilight Abomination in the north. But I still haven't sent them up there. I guess I was a little paranoid. I had probably attempted this a couple of times and lost my attack group. If you build up your attack group and then you subsequently go up in the north and then lose your attack group, it's a real problem with the Play4Free deck because you don't have enough reinforcements in the Play4Free deck to really lose a lot of units. If you do that, it'll take you a really long time to build your force back up. So it's best to build a big enough force that you're very confident in right from the start and send them in. They'll take a few losses, but you won't need to spend a whole lot of time waiting for the recharge of the cards to summon in new units. Now I've built a Primal Defender outside the walls by the power well, and the idea there is that the attacking Twilight are going to focus on that power well, or rather focus on that Primal Defender rather than my power wells and my units. Still getting strong attacks on the east side here, and pretty much every time the Vile Bloods break through the wall. Okay, I pulled the Abomination in, and he didn't go for the Primal Defender, but looks like the Death Gliders are attacking it. With that group of Magma Hurlers and Swamp Drakes I have there, the Abomination fell down pretty quick. They have the XL attack, and the Magma Hurlers have a very strong, it's not an XL attack, but it's still very strong, and I have like 4 of them there, it looks like. So, yeah. And I go and clean out the towers in the north, let the rest of the units, the rest of Rogue and Kale's group head into the city, and then I head immediately off to the northwest to go after the buildings there, and I really kind of screwed up this attack. So you can treat this as pretty much a textbook example of how not to attack these corner camps. First I sent in my ground units, and they got obliterated by the Twilight Bombard and the Hag between the two of them. Then I sent in my Magma Hurlers. I used some healing there, but my Magma Hurlers were just standing there getting whacked by the Bombard. And then I brought in my Swamp Drakes to attack the anti-air tower. So pretty much everything went completely wrong there. I should have used the magma hurlers to attack the air tower. I should have used the swamp drakes from a different angle to attack the bombard before I send in any ground units. In any case, yeah, don't attack that way. That's not the way to do it. As it turned out, I only have 3 swamp drakes left from that whole debacle. One of the swamp drakes lost it to a Twilight Thornbark looking guy. But I'm rebuilding as much as my limited recharges will allow me, because I do want to go back up there and build the 4th orb. I want to be able to build Era 4 units before the final attack comes in, because it'll make things a lot easier for the final defense. You don't want... There's 2 Twilight Dragons that come in at first on each side, and they're followed up by some Abominations and some other things. And you want to at least hold them off at the walls. If they make it in near the soul stones, the map can end pretty quickly, and after holding out for this long, longer than a half hour or whatever, it's significantly frustrating to lose at the very last moment. So you don't want to do that. So having Era 4 units available for the final defense is a good thing. And here's my first one. I got the Great Worm there. Giant Worm, sorry. I don't know why I always call those Great Worms. I really want them to be Great Worms, I think. They are great, but they're Giant Worms. And I'm not going to bother defending that northern orb, because the stronger attack waves are coming in now. These Death Gliders here got through the wall with help of some hags and took out one of my orbs inside the city. So I gotta get back there. Gotta get defending right away. I gotta get that orb rebuilt so I can build some more Era 4 units. And I should get that wall back up, but I haven't done it yet. There it is. Not really building any towers. Kind of useless at this point. The Primal Defenders are really the only decent tower that you get, but what you do get is these Era 4 Tempest units, and they function as a super powerful Era 4 tower, and they would be even more powerful if you were using Cold Snap for crowd control, but I don't do that. I don't think that's in the Play4Free deck. A group of Twilight Vilebloods has come up to the north and beat up my... There they come from the north. Beat up my orb in the north, so I'm going to have to send my Dragon Air Force there back up to the north to rebuild the orb so I can get some more Tempests inside the city and a couple more Dragons. Maybe some Era 4 ground units too. Some Ember Strikes to hold off the Abominations that come in the final wave. There, you see that, you can see right there, well, briefly, the Twilight Death Gliders just basically kind of ignore the Primal Defenders like they weren't even there. So the attacks are so strong now that the Primal Defender towers don't really do much for you. And here we have a group of like 3 of those Death Gliders, and they knock down the walls instantly, they knock down any towers, they knock down your units pretty quickly too. They have a very strong attack. I think they're equivalent. They must be Era 4 equivalent units in their attack stream, because their little howls of disaster do serious damage. So I did bring in some Rifle Cultists and a couple of Ember Strikes there. Ember Strikes are nicer when you can actually summon them in combat, because they do a big chunk of damage when they land, but I wanted to get them in ahead of time here. Here come the Twilight Dragons, one on each wall. And I've got I got a Great Worm in the east, and a Giant Worm in the east, a Giant Worm in the west, and it didn't really take very long that time. The Soulstones regenerated, they were ready to go, and they killed everybody. So, kind of anticlimactic. I didn't have to do a whole lot of defending this time around. Well, there you have it. Play4Free deck, Defending Hope. Be on the lookout for videos coming up from the winners of the currently running community challenge, which is also on Defending Hope, and check it out on the forums. Hope you've found this replay interesting and helpful.